Welcome back. You're still tuned into Our City. Before the break, we had a roundup of today's news and looked at what trended on social media. Statistics have shown that the majority of households in South Africa are run by single parents. According to the South African Institute of Race Relations, only 33% of children in South Africa live with both their parents. Statistics South Africa released a report on Tuesday on record live births in 2014. More than 1.1 million births were registered last year. However, 64% had no information on fathers. Child maintenance or child support falls under family law and public policy, which makes it a very serious issue. When it comes to children, strong commitment and love is not negotiable. The child maintenance system ensures all parents honor their duty to maintain the children. Child Maintenance Difficulties South Africa organized a picket on Monday at the family court where they called on the Department of Justice to address the issue and take it seriously. Let's have a look.
Parents, caregivers and guardians are here today in Plain Street where they are picketing on child maintenance. They feel that the Department of Justice is not doing enough to resolve this issue. Many women have to take leave in order to resolve these issues. So we spoke to one of the organizers who will be telling us more about child maintenance. How did the organization Child Maintenance Difficulties South Africa start?
It started out of my own experience in the justice system. I entered the underbelly 7 years ago with a fraudulent divorce. And then with that I thought I'd get relief once my divorce did go through correctly with maintenance. And that's when I entered the maintenance court and there was no relief. My ex-husband ended up owing me over 350,000 rand. I was in criminal and civil and back to criminal, back to civil. The only way I beat it was to get a protection order for economic abuse. It's the only way I stopped it. I ended up being evicted because he owed me so much money. We're looking for the Department of Justice to really make maintenance resolution, solving it a priority. That instead of it lasting a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. We have a member who hasn't been paid a cent maintenance for 20 years. She's been in and out of maintenance courts. Another one, 13 years. Women give up. So we're just saying, please, can you just process the claims? Can you make sure that there is maintenance, which is a financial responsibility of both parents? But the primary caregiver, which is majority women, they end up carrying the bulk of the burden. One of the worst cases that I've heard of is a woman was battling to get maintenance. She was eventually evicted and she eventually lost her children because she could no longer put a roof over her head. And that became a continuous form of abuse because the father of the children used that continuously. He still, to this day, he beats her up about it and he manipulates and controls her because she now doesn't have the children. The bulk of the responsibility falls on women. So as women, we have to take leave to go to court. We take leave continuously. I mean, there are some women who've used all their leave just to appear in court. They then take unpaid leave. So they become further burdened financially because now they start earning less. And how do they recover from that? And if there was a speedy resolution on arrears of maintenance, it would maybe 2-3 months and then it would be resolved, but it doesn't get resolved. There are some women that I know of who are owed anywhere between 300,000 and 600,000 rand. You'll never get that money back. Even if it stands for 30 years as the legislation is, you will never get that money back because they become clever. They don't put things in their name. They open accounts in other people's names, so they can't lose anything. But if you resolve that quicker, you prevent all of that. So the system is so open to being abused by the defaulter. We just can't allow the abuse of children and women to continue. It's enough. From the time you put your foot into the Department of Justice, the way that you're treated by the people within the department, and the waiting period. There's a moratorium on staff, so you're lucky if you get your first appearance after 3 months. And then if they served, you're lucky if you get resolution within a year. And that's about average. It's listed under the Domestic Violence Act as abuse. And the reason that it's abuse is because if finances are withheld, it impacts on your life. It leaves people completely marginalized to cover their basic expenses and their basic living costs. And there's a lot of people living on SAIRR grants, and they hope to get relief through maintenance to support their child. You can't support a child on a SAIRR grant.
We are here to support the people who are here already protesting against the poor maintenance services. It is something we have protested about in the past. A year ago, we had a big march here with hundreds of people. Department of Justice hasn't even bothered to answer our memorandum. So we are wanting to stress the fact that there is not enough funding for the Justice Department. This is why we have a moratorium on staff. And if you are short-staffed, the people are working extremely hard and demotivated too. What happens to the mothers who have to come month after month and then be sent back unhelped? It is a blight against our human rights culture. It is a disgrace to think that we are a country that is supposed to be looking after our children and our families. So we want to put pressure on government and say, please take note. You need people who are properly trained. You need enough people to serve the needs of the people, and justice must be done. There are too many fathers, majority of fathers, who don't take their responsibilities well. They create a baby and then they walk away. Why should the mother be left? Our constitution determines that everybody is equal, and you cannot just create a child and walk away. So we are standing up for human rights, we are standing up for a caring government, and we are saying the public need to be listened to. Listen to the cry of the children. Listen to those hungry tummies rumbling. Not good enough.
Okay, my name is Pat Fahrenford. I'm here because my daughter is battling, but also a whole lot of women are being humiliated by the maintenance courts. Magistrates are incompetent, so are the court officials. Women on the lower end of the salary scale have to take off and they have to lose a day's pay. Now you take that over a couple of years. My daughter's had 27 postponements, 27. Then the file went missing. And I had to behave like a fishwife to find that file, and I did. What about the women who do not have a voice, who don't have the strength or the chutzpah to come forward and say, we are going through the same process? So I don't know. Our children are being failed. What are these mothers supposed to do in the meantime? They have to feed, clothe, and send the children to school. Now, I'm sure there are women who also are defaulters, but it's mostly men. And it's just getting a bit tedious now. And how are people... So I want to know what is going to be done about it. The lawyers have sent a letter to the courts asking why the cases are being postponed. They do not respond. So I just think that they are actually incompetent. They're not doing their work, or they don't care about children.
And what are your thoughts on child maintenance?
Pardon?
Your thoughts on child maintenance?
It's absolutely necessary. It's absolutely necessary, because how must women, even if they do earn a decent salary, they still have to fork out a whole lot of money. Now, my daughter has for 27 months had the case had to be postponed. He refuses to pay. So are a lot of other men. And my heart goes out to those women who are too scared to open their mouths. But they go without. If you take 12 months, that's 12 days. It's almost a month's salary. And they have to do without it.
Well, I would say that I know how frustrating it can be for the ladies who have to go through this unending war to be able to just get some money for their children, you know. And look, in some of our communities, not paying child maintenance is more like a sport, you know, than anything else. You know, I didn't do that. And a lot of guys need to be conscientized as to what happens, how does, what is the maintenance all about, and to be able to understand that there are non-confrontational ways to be able to resolve these issues. But the main thing is we need the courts to actually implement the laws that do exist. In the older days, there used to be more. There used to be more implementation of the law. People used to be arrested. They were treated as default as criminals, and people and their families took note of these things. But now, because it's the Justice Department and authorities don't seem to be taking much notice, they seem to be have their eye on other things. I don't know, lunchtime, tea time, whatever. So guys relax and they go overseas and they take jobs overseas in Iraq, and because they feel that they can't be touched. Although there are laws that will that can prevent them from coming back into the country without sorting their affairs out. Tracking people down, we have maintenance investigators in the courts, that can go and find out if people have yachts and huge properties, but they still can't find the money to pay for the children that they're supposed to be raising.
I'm here today because of the maintenance, because it's children's right to be maintained from both parents. The defaulters, they don't follow the court orders that they have. I just want them to follow the court orders, that is it, because the children, they need the support.
I'm Principal Waggelstrom, the Area Court Manager for Cape Town Magistrates Court, working for the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. I just wish to acknowledge I just received a memorandum where some points has been noted. This will be handed over to our DG so that the content can be on a higher level be dealt with, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, thank you.